Hey YouTubers, thanks for checking into Crazy for Lures today. Today's rod review is going to be on a brand that many of you would not have heard of. I came across this brand when I was in my local fishing store, and the gentleman there introduced me to it. Never heard of it, but the way that he was talking about it and about past customer experiences, and he's told me that he sold a lot of them and everyone really likes them. So yeah, I was getting pretty excited about the fact of wanting to give this rod a try out. And after owning it for about the last about nearly a year now, I got to let you know that I give this rod an absolute thumbs up, because it was different to the sort of standard rods that I would generally try go out and buy. Okay, first of all, this here is a spinning model. Okay, the model of it is called the Dynamic F1. This is quite a heavy rod. Okay, and it's designed for fighting bigger fish, and really having that power there for you to be able to land those fish and not worry too much about blank strain, or that feeling that your rod might snap in two pieces. All right, so talking about two pieces, this is my first ever rod that not first ever, but my first rod that I currently still own that is actually two pieces. I always exclusively buy one-piece rods. I like the idea of a blank that is made completely with its construction with just one whole piece, as opposed to two pieces with a joint in the middle of the blank there. That was one of the things that made me sort of think, oh, I'm not so sure, I'm not really a fan of two-piece rods, because I simply didn't really use them that much, and like I said, I prefer one-piece rods. After owning this for a year, I've only got good things to say about it, and the whole two-piece side of it really is not a factor at all whatsoever now, because it performs really well. Alright, so with this particular rod, if I zoom out for you here, we're going to be getting a very, let's go through the design of it first. With the blank itself, okay, so Nordic Stage produce with this particular model anyways, a particular type of blank that is, it's got X-Torque technology, so that's their cool name that they'd like to call it, but pretty much what X-Torque is a way that they wrap the carbon fiber layers and materials to cross over. Okay, so first of all, they're going to have a very thin inner layer that's going to be wrapped around this way in the blank, and then they're going to where the fibers are facing that way there, and then the next step would be where the fibers are facing that way, wrapped around there. And then the third stage would be where the fibers are wrapped on this angle. And then the fourth stage would be where the fibers are wrapped on this angle. Okay, so not just giving you a blank where certain fibers are facing just one way. They're really crisscrossing into one another and giving you that extra strength. Okay. Next step would be, they use a type of Japanese low resin. So what low resin is really with these carbon fiber blanks now. Blanks are usually made out of carbon fiber, or in the old days, I know that fiberglass was quite a popular material for fishing rods, but it seems now like carbon fiber is the main sort of technology that blanks are made of. With this carbon fiber material that's in big rolls, pretty much in the construction period of it, it's not just carbon fiber like we're used to knowing. It's something called a carbon fiber reinforced polymer. Okay, so what that is ultimately a mix. It's a composite. Okay, a composite, or however you want to pronounce that. It's a blend of two materials. It's ultimately carbon fiber, and then also a type of resin or glue in layman's terms. Depending on how much glue or resin that you put into that pre-mix roll of carbon fiber is going to determine how heavy the rod is going to be. The more glue or resin that you do put in, I should use the proper terms, the more resin that you have in the construction of the blank, you're going to be getting a heavier blank, but you will be getting quite a strong one. So it's that fine balancing act between being able to have a really a strong rod, but without putting in too much resin into the blank itself. Okay, and that takes a lot of care in the whole construction process as well. They have to do things really perfectly to be able to use minimal amounts of resin to make the rod really light, but also maintain a really good strength. Guys, the one thing about this rod that is very special is that it is an incredibly strong rod. It's quite a thin diameter blank, considering its weight rating. It's actually rated, if we have a closer look there, it's going to say, if I can sort of just focus for you. Anyways, it says Dynamic F1. Nordic Stage's logo there. Ultra tough carbon. Alright, it's a high modulus carbon material crafted by Mitsubishi Rayon in Japan. The rod itself is going to be made in and constructed in Korea. Okay. Next step would be just around here. We've got a bit of information for you there. There's the model number. It's a 6'7" two-piece medium heavy rod. The action itself is a slow action, meaning that it's not tip bouncy or it bends more at the tip. It pretty much bends progressively and evenly throughout the blank from here all the way down to the tip. Okay, so it's a nice even bend all the way from there to the from the tip to this section here. All right, so there's the length, and lure rating is 10 to 38 grams, and the line rating is 16 pounds. Guys, you can really put on like larger line, heavier line than that, and not have a problem with pulling in like a fish with this. I've had experience with being able to, luckily enough, being able to fight a certain fish, and even a stingray actually a couple of weeks back, and this rod performed really, really well. Okay. If we go through, we'll have a physical look at the rod. First of all, starting off with the grip. It's nice EVA butt section there with a accented metal anodized piece in there. Moving along to quite a larger section here to hold on to. It's a good length in terms of the grip itself, the handle. Okay, it's not a split grip. Technically, I suppose, there is that little section there, but I wouldn't really classify this as a split grip, I suppose. So I think that section there is just so as you're putting on your reel, there's something for this section to fall back into before you tighten it up. Okay, it does say there Fuji. It is a Fuji reel seat as well that's included, and it's an incredibly comfortable one, guys. Very, very comfortable reel seat. Moving on to a very nice foregrip as well. To hold it there, it's very comfortable. Transitions really, really nicely. Okay, and that's all EVA as well there. It's got a little hook holder there at the bottom, so it is in that sort of shape. So hopefully when you do cast it, you're not going to have problems with it. The line touching there. I've never had any issues whatsoever with that. Moving on to the accents itself, so the color, the paint scheme is going to be a very traditional raw sort of carbon fiber look, along with a very traditional maroon purple color there with the gold thread. All right, what I really like about this rod is the fact that it's got a really nice guide system. The guide system's provided by a company called Keegan. It's a Korean company. These are tangle-free guides. All right, and They're zirconia inserts here, so the rings here are made out of zirconia, which seems to be a favourite of the Keegan company. I've got Keegan zirconia guides on my St. Croix Legend Legend Extreme Inshore version casting rod, and they're really, really good guides, very sensitive. Alright, so this is where the two-piece joint is here. Like I said, I'm not a fan of two-piece, but after owning this rod, I don't see it as an issue whatsoever. Moving on to, so we've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 guides, and then plus the tip. So you're getting a total of 7, but 6 plus a tip is, it's one of the letdowns on the rod. It's not really a big deal. I haven't really noticed it in terms of, you know, practicality while I'm out on the water, but I would have liked it if they maybe had for a 6'7" rod, maybe have a couple more guides on there for you. Maybe say 8 plus 1 tip or something like that would have been a bit better. Like 2 extra guides would have been nice. That does keep the weight down, I suppose, if you don't have those guides there, therefore giving you a bit more sensitivity in the rod as well as this is sort of like bouncing. Okay. Yeah, pretty much. I'll go through a couple of the features that this rod does have now. It's got, it says here on the website, special action that progressively bends with no lockups. I did find that to be 100% true. Fishing with this particular rod, you know, I really do like my extra fast tips. So really bendy tips, and I prefer a lot of backbone in this section. What you're going to be getting is not like a whole heap of backbone in this section. You're actually going to be getting a very, very, very strong blank all the way through to the tip. And it progressively bends in a even sort of shape as as it's under load. So fishing it for the first few times, it felt a little bit odd because I was very used to, you know, more of a straighter, stiffer backbone, and then just the tip being really bendy. But yeah, I've come to really like enjoy fishing this rod. Yeah, it's a good action. All right, it's also reinforced with Nordic Stage's 1K woven carbon fiber technology as well, which is throughout the blank. They just reinforce it with that particular technology. Also, yeah, tangle-free Keegan zirconia guides, the low resin Japanese resin system that I was talking about, explaining before, and then the Fuji reel seat, and also the EVA handle as well. All right, guys, to sum it up, I dislike two-piece rods. Okay, I like one piece. I'm just a fan of them. It's just something that I'm into. But I've changed my mind in this situation with this rod. The two pieces, it's actually versatile. You can actually take it off, take off the two pieces and travel with this rod as well quite easily. And I find that joint in the middle is very firm, very strong, and I'm not losing anything with having that joint in the middle of the blank there where the two pieces connect. I'm liking the guide system that's on this, but most importantly, I should say, before I move on to the next section, I should say that I would have liked maybe 1 or 2 extra guides added onto that. Yeah, I'm one of those types of people who like a lot of guides through their along their blank. But the thing that's really impressive about the rod itself is its overall strength. I fished a lot of different fishing rods, and I own, St. Croix, G. Loomis's, a lot of your premium brands, and I did find that with this particular rod, it is incredibly strong. And a lot of these companies out there, when they're making their blanks, unfortunately, I say this in my other videos, is that the blank is the most important part of the rod, but yet it's something that the company can claim that they make a great blank, but who really knows? Consistently over time, if you're getting if rods are snapping and exploding, and then people are returning them to a store, over time they're going to be getting a bad reputation. This particular brand, Nordic Stage, has garnered a fantastic reputation, certainly in Europe. They're they're quite popular in Europe now, and even in the Australian market, and that's where I'm from. now, and you know, some of the fish that we try to chase here, you know, there's different model rods to chase different species, but there's some pretty aggressive, pretty big fish, like your barramundis and fish like that we fish up here in North Queensland in Australia. And I've never ever had an issue with this rod whatsoever, and I feel very confident every time I do bring it out and use it. Okay, so I give this the Nordic Stage Dynamic F1 a huge thumbs up, a double thumbs up. All right, guys, so if you want to check it out, certainly do so. Yeah, totally awesome fishing rod. All right, so all right, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave the video on that. Hit the like button if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you got any comments, please comment below, guys. If you have any questions, please comment below. But you got to check these rods out, guys. Really, you really got to do it. Awesome rods. All right, guys, happy fishing, and I'll catch you around next time. See yous.